You know, there's this one thing that happens all the time, and it's actually very funny because you would think we would have stopped doing this by now, but we haven't. People like to talk about other people. It's just what humans do. We love gossip. We love rumors. And not only do we love it, we participate in it all the time. But then when it comes back to bite us, or when we get caught in it, then we suffer. The Stoics, they knew this. They understood human nature, and they knew how to handle it. So in today's episode, we're going to talk about how the Stoics handle gossip and rumors. Let's get into it. So Epictetus tells this story of one of his students who was talking to him about her reputation in town. And she was saying, "People say that I'm arrogant and that I'm proud." And Epictetus says something that I think is really important for us to hear. He said, "Well, why do you want to be known? Why do you care what people say?" And she said, "But I do care. I want people to like me. I want them to think well of me." And he said, "Well, if you want that, then you must not talk. You must do what's right and speak little." And he says, "Why do you want to be talked about? Just do good things, and then you won't need to be talked about. It'll be enough that people say, 'She's a good person.'" And so sometimes, we want to make a name for ourselves. We want to make a name for ourselves. We want to be famous. We want to be recognized. We want to be liked. And instead, according to Epictetus here, if you're going to do all those things, then don't complain when people talk about you. If you're going to go out there and put yourself out there, then understand that some people will like you and some people will not. Some people will talk well of you and some people will not. And that's part of the deal. When we look at history, when we look at famous people, most of them, their names are tarnished somehow. There's some negative rumor or story that gets passed down about them along with the great things. And so if we want to be remembered for the great things, we can't be surprised when some of the other stuff gets remembered as well. So what should we do? Well, he says, do good things, and then you won't need people to talk about you because your actions will speak for you. That's a good lesson for us there. Now, sometimes, though, we get caught up in other people's gossip, and we didn't start it, but now it's coming back to bite us. The Roman philosopher Pliny the Younger had this problem. He was writing to a friend of his, a guy named Gysius, and he was telling him, "Listen, these people are spreading rumors about me that aren't true. They're saying I'm hoarding grain and not selling it. They're saying I'm taking advantage of the situation. They're saying bad things about me that aren't true, and it's hurting me politically. It's hurting me financially. What do I do?" And his friend Gaius wrote back to him and said, "Well, first of all, do you know why they're saying these things?" And Pliny says, "Well, I do know why they're saying them. They saw me storing grain in preparation for the harvest, and they assumed I was doing it to hoard it and to take advantage of the market, when really, I was just preparing for the next harvest." And so Gaius says, "Well, why don't you write them a letter? Tell them what you were doing. Tell them the truth and set the record straight." And he says, that way, there's no reason for them to keep repeating these lies. So he wrote a letter and he told everyone exactly what he was doing, exactly why he was storing grain. And then he says, "And you know what happened? After I did that, more people started talking about me, but now they were talking about me positively. Now they were saying how fair I was, how honest I was, how trustworthy I was. And it ended up helping me even more than it hurt me." And so sometimes the best response to gossip is just to ignore it, right? Sometimes we feed into it. Sometimes we try to stop it. Other times we just need to let it come and go. But either way, we shouldn't worry too much about what people say. Instead, we should focus on doing the right thing. Marcus Aurelius talks about this in Meditations. He's writing to himself, reminding himself, don't get caught up in what people say. Don't get caught up in the opinions of others. Instead, focus on doing the right thing. Focus on being the person that you want to be. Focus on building your character and living according to virtue. Another Stoic idea that helps us here is the idea of dichotomy of control. We can't control what people say. We can't control the rumors. We can't control the gossip. We can't control other people. We can only control ourselves. So focus on what you're doing. Focus on your actions. Focus on your character and let the gossip just kind of drift on by. You don't have to engage with it. You don't have to try to stop it. You don't have to worry about it. Just do the right thing and move on. There's another story that's told about Epictetus. One of his students was hanging around one day, and someone came by and criticized Epictetus and criticized his philosophy. And the student got really upset. He was angry. He wanted to defend Epictetus. And so he asked Epictetus, "Should I say something? Should I defend you? What should I do?" And Epictetus said, "No, no, let him keep talking. Let him keep talking. Whatever he's saying isn't true anyway, so why bother arguing with him?" And then he turned to the person who was criticizing him and said, "You keep talking. Keep talking. You're making my student uncomfortable, which means you're not doing any harm to him at all." And this gets to the point where sometimes people just say things to see what kind of reaction they can get. Sometimes they say things because they're trying to provoke you. Sometimes they say things just because they're ignorant and they don't know better. Either way, according to Epicurus here, just let them talk. Let them talk. You don't need to defend yourself. You don't need to explain yourself. You don't need to engage with them. Just let them keep talking because they're not hurting you and you're not hurting them. Now, sometimes we do need to respond to rumors and gossip. We do need to correct it. Like I said before, we don't want to let these false statements float around without addressing them, because then they become the truth. And the truth is what people believe to be true. And so it doesn't matter if it's technically true or not. If people believe it to be true, then it's true in a practical sense. And so we do sometimes need to respond. We do sometimes need to correct the record. But that doesn't mean getting angry. It doesn't mean lashing out. It doesn't mean fighting back. It just means calmly, rationally explaining our side of the story. And speaking of getting angry, you know who else loved gossip? You know who else loved to talk about other people? You know who else participated in this destructive behavior? You guessed it, teenagers. That's it for today. If you liked this video, check out this playlist right here for other videos on Stoic philosophy. And if you want to learn more about Stoic philosophy, you can check out my book, A Beginner's Guide to Stoic Philosophy. You can find it online. I put the link in the description below. Thanks for watching.